battle over where to put San Diego's temporary winter homeless shelter ran into a familiar refrain this week. "Not in my backyard" was what some downtown East Village residents said before the city council voted to put off the decision. There are more than 4,500 homeless people living on the streets in the city of San Diego. And joining me now to talk about how to care for homeless during the coldest months of the year are City Councilman Todd Gloria and David Hazen, Chairman of the East Village Association. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Gloria.
I'll start with you, Councilman Gloria. Sure. What is the proposed site for this year's homeless shelter?
It's a city-owned parcel in East Village. It's bounded by 13th, 14th, F and G streets. It's a parcel that's more or less ready to go, which makes a few small improvements to make sure utilities are on site, water and power. But it's a site that's there, and we need to make a decision where to site it. And I think it's a reasonable place to place it.
But why was that particular site recommended?
Well, I think we looked at some other locations, locations that have been used in the past, locations that haven't been used in the past, and this one is fortunately, again, owned by the public, so we don't have to negotiate with a property owner. Additionally, it's where the need is. You mentioned 4,500 homeless people in our county. This past week, I participated in an effort to register the homeless in downtown, and we contacted 1,040 people on the streets of downtown this week. So we know that the lion's share of the population are there, and we also know the services are there. So we need to place it somewhere in downtown, and this seems like a reasonable site to do that.
So that's your neighborhood, David Hazen.
That's our neighborhood.
Why are you opposed to it?
Well, first of all, you said that we have a NIMBY attitude. Let me put it to you this way. We don't have a NIMBY attitude. We've been working with the Housing Commission on this, with Ms. Sissy Fisher, hand in glove, trying to find an alternative site for it. If anything, we have a not in our front yard attitude. This location is where the 94 exits and enters. There are 20,000 cars a day that come past that in each way. And that is a horrible marquee for the East Village and for downtown, frankly. And we're trying to encourage development people to come down and use the services that we have there right now. So we think that is one issue that is bad.
So let's talk about that for a second. So basically what you're saying is that it would lower property values or lower the interest in real estate in that area.
We believe it would have an impact on it, yes. And if you look at last year's site, once they moved off of that site, it has still become a magnet for the homeless. They've gone there, it becomes habituated, and that is something that we certainly don't want to see at this site on 13th Street either. So
that's a real concern. I mean, for the people who own and live in that area, how do you respond to David Hazen?
It is an issue, and he raises the point about folks coming in and out of downtown going past this site. But I would suggest that people coming in and out of downtown today are seeing people encamped on the sidewalks, along the street. They're already there, and this would provide an opportunity. We serve about 800 people over the course of the winter shelter tent in downtown, over the course of the winter months. And this would take those 800 people off of the street and get them back into the continuum to where we can put them in suitable housing. So it's where the need is. If we saw the lion's share that, over 1,000 of the 4,000 on the street were in another community, we'd probably place it there.
So the shelter needs to be located somewhere, doesn't it?
It absolutely needs to be located
What's your
somewhere.
recommendation?
We came up with a number of recommendations which were rejected for whatever reasons. They didn't meet the criteria. You need a fairly big size lot. I think one thing that we may want to consider, and it does cost money, I'll grant you that, is having smaller tents and placing them in different locations that you don't have to have this almost full city block to accommodate them. Just to address one matter as far as the services are concerned. Yes, there are a lot of services in the East Village area.
Meaning what?
Social services that these folks can avail themselves of. A lot of the services are brought to the tent, though. These folks are not traveling out to get them. My understanding is that the majority of the services come to the tent, so to use that as an argument, I think is a little bit specious at this point.
What about that? I mean, if the service is coming to the tent, what does it matter where the tent is?
Well, there are services that are on site because people are housed there, but the reality is that St. Vincent de Paul is in downtown. Neil Good Day Center, Family Health Center's clinic, the Social Security Administration are all in downtown. It's transit accessible, and it's where those are. It would be inappropriate, I think, to ask 800 homeless people to come from one part of the city, say Mission Valley, Hillcrest, somewhere else, to transit down to the services that are there. We provide, the shelter, for just to give an example, does not provide a lunch when it's open. They have to go somewhere to eat, and they go currently to St. Vincent de Paul. If you were to place the shelter somewhere else, and not provide lunch, I mean, you're going to have homeless people transiting back and forth. We want to put it where the services are, and most importantly, again, where the population is.
What about the idea that David proposed, that you have small tents scattered throughout the city to take care of the homeless population, and then you arrange for the lunch services?
Well, that's reasonable, but one of the things that we have to look at is cost. And the fact of the matter is the city doesn't pay for the entire cost of the winter tent system. Our two providers, Veterans Villages of San Diego with the Veterans Tent in the Midway area, and Alpha Project doing the downtown one, actually have to go out and raise money to provide this service. So to ask them to disperse the service increases the cost. Gloria, today it costs about $12 a day to take care of a homeless person in the tent system. There's no cheaper, more efficient way to handle the needs of an individual for less than $12. So we have to be mindful of the dollars that are involved. And I think that what we have is a very efficient, taxpayer-friendly approach at the shelter.
Just seconds left. You've heard his objections. What is the answer?
The answer is to look at this thing in a global way. We do need to solve the problem. Nobody denies that we have a major problem. This is a horrible location for the tent, though, because it is in a very majorly populated area of East Village.
Thank you very much, David Hazen, Todd Gloria.